Hey guys, this is Trace. I just wanted to take a minute and make a video. I'm planning on starting a video blog series. For those of you who don't know, I am loading up a trailer on a bicycle and I'm gonna go nomadic. I'm planning on going from here over to the west coast. I'll be going up the west coast through Canada, Alaska, hop over to Russia. I plan on just going around the world. But I wanted to start a video blog series, and so I'm going to start this out now, and I just want to talk about some of my reasons for wanting to do this, and some of the things that have been part of the process for this decision. So initially it's kind of been culminating over the last few years. I've been halfway nomadic anyways. Last year I lived in 7 different places that year. So I've kind of always had this part in me that wants to go around and do new things, meet new people, go new places, and have new experiences. And on the flip side of that is that I have kind of a hard time being stable. And for a long time I struggled with that, just feeling societal pressure and, family pressure to be stable and financially secure and things like that. And I've tried, several different ways and several different places to do that, but it just hasn't worked out for me. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I started taking Taoist classes, which, if those of you who don't know, Taoism is an Eastern ideology, if you will. So I started taking these courses about last year. I only did the first 3 months, but it had a lasting impact on me. It showed me new ways to think about our needs, our spiritual needs, our physical needs as a person. And as I started to understand and to integrate these into my life, I came to the realization that two of the more basic needs that we have would be certainty and variety. And I had been trying for so long to have certainty and to be stable and to have these things that the world tells us is what is right, at least here in America. And it just didn't work for me. I just had such a high need for variety, and coming to terms with that has been a long process of just allowing myself to be who I am, and understanding that and accepting it. And so it kind of comes back to just that, accepting who you are, which is not something that we're taught in America. It's not something that's even suggested or promoted. In fact, the opposite is true. So come to terms with my high propensity for variety and how much I need that in my life to thrive. It was a long process, and I've always kind of known it was there, that I thrive off of change and that I do well with it, but fully accepting it and allowing myself to behave in such a way that bodes well with me in that sense, but yet may not make sense to other people or even be accepted with other people, is something that it takes time, and it's been a process to get through that. And I guess more recently, I had been working at Bicycle Barn, living with my parents, trying once again to get on my feet again for the umpteenth time. And it's a great job for me. I love bikes. I love talking about bikes. I love selling bikes, working on bikes, all of it. I've had a car for 3 months in the last 5 years, so I've had a bike and I have plenty of experience with it. But as I was working this job, it was just the day in, day out monotony of it that just was driving me insane. And I started to dread going into work every day. And it was, the plan was, when I went in there, to work this job for the next 3 years. And I was going to be having money saved up. I was going to start going to medical qigong courses, which would take it would take a few years to get to reach a level of certification, if you will, as far as being able to practice this and make money with it. And the purpose behind that was so that I could have a skill or a trade that I could take with me wherever I went, to provide me that financial stability that I felt like I needed in order to live as nomadically as I pleased. And over time, I realized that just the act of going through the next 3 years or 4 years and doing this day in, day out routine was going to be brutally hard for me. and it was going to be very difficult. And I realized that the only reason that I was doing that in the first place was because I felt like I needed a piece of paper or somebody saying that, oh, well, you can do this to make money, in order for me to feel comfortable enough to live nomadically. And once I kind of realized that, I basically just flipped it around. I mean, if the whole end game is to just be nomadic anyways, and I'm trying to spend the next 3 years doing something that's not easy for me and not something that fits well with my spiritual needs, just to make myself feel comfortable enough to do it. It was a way to try and get around the fear of it. And I'm sure many of you realize that when you see fear and you notice something that is agitating or bothering you, that you should look at it, you should pay attention to it and move into it, and that's how you would actually heal that part of you or overcome it. People have been saying that this is courageous, or you have a lot of courage, and I think I'm finally understanding the meaning of that, because I am scared. The dates have been set. I'm going to Galveston on the 27th of this month. I will be leaving Galveston on the 29th to actually start. I'm kind of going through a few towns between here and Houston to kind of get used to the new changes before I go from Houston to Austin and start out heading west. But as I get closer, I realize more and more so how afraid I am of it. And it's easy to kind of idolize what it will be like, and I know it's going to be difficult, and I know it's going to be wonderful, and all of these things. But coming to terms with my own personal fears of it has been a very interesting process, where I realize that I'm scared that it's not going to suit me, that the lifestyle will not be what I'm looking for, that it's not going to be congruent to who I am, and I'm scared of that not being the case, because I feel like I've tried everything else I know, and this is that last little thing that I've had in the back of my mind for so long, that it's always been what I've been reaching toward, just kind of incrementally. And now that I'm just taking this big leap, it's this huge, overwhelming fear of, what if it's not what I'm looking for? What if that's not actually what I think it is? And I'm sure it will be different than what I have pictured in my mind. But the point is for me to live in a way that I feel is congruent with who I really am. I'm very afraid that of what I know is going to happen. It's not going to make my life easier. This is definitely a more difficult life path, I feel like, and I'm going to be confronted with my own issues, because it's going to be just me and myself a lot of the time, and it's going to take a lot to. I'm going to be able to see what it is I'm made of, in a sense. It's almost like a testing myself. But with that comes a lot of introspection, and seeing what I'm made of also, shows me parts of myself that I may not want to see, or may not. It's going to accelerate that process of growth. And while I've always sought that out, this is on a much different level. It's going to be much more accelerated, and so that's scary to me. And just knowing that I'm going to have no choice but to confront those things kind of makes it a little bit more intimidating. I feel like my path over the last few years, I've been able to look at these things and seek them out and grow with them at kind of my own pace. And if I felt like I noticed something but didn't really feel like I was prepared to deal with it, now I could do that. Whereas with this, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more up in my face, and that it's going to have to be addressed immediately. So I'm very scared of that as well. All of that being said, it's all part of the path. It's all part of the way, and I realize that no matter what happens when I leave and throughout this process, it's going to be exactly what I need. So I go to it with the faith in that. I go to it with faith in myself, and believing that I have enough competence and verve to do this. So I'm really excited, guys. I guess this is going to be it for my first video. I'll be putting out new videos every so often. I'm going to try to do at least one a week. I will make another video here in a couple days before I leave, showing you what I've packed up and why I brought what I brought and why I didn't bring some other things. But yeah, guys, I hope you like this video. If you want to like or share this video, that would be awesome. And have a good one.